Welcome back to Lenz's Comic Corner, classic/non-classic. This is episode number 756 and Doubleshot number 660. Two Marvel trades. First up is a really big book, like I mentioned last episode, and it is The Mighty Avengers by Brian Michael Bendis, the complete collection. Yes, this contains his entire 20-issue run he did for this book. I should point out, though, these issues were originally collected in 4 trades. Yep. What were the trades? Excuse me. They were called... I know one was called Venom Bomb. That was Volume 2. Let's see. I had to look it up here. Let's see. One deal with frickin' Ultron. Second, the third and fourth books were just basically books deal with Secret Invasion. Let's see. Yeah, it was the Ultra Initiative, Venom Bomb, and 2 books for Secret Invasion. Let's first talk about the Ultron Initiative, which basically during this first story arc we have the first and only lineup for this group. Yeah, they do have someone who kind of joins later, but later the Infiltrator. Now the lineup for this particular run is the following. It's led by Carol Danvers Miss Marvel with Ares, the God of War, Black Widow, Wonder Man, Sentry, and the Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. himself, Iron Man. Yep. Despite the fact Iron Man is kind of basically Carol's boss, Carol is the boss of this team. Yep. And mostly it's her and Iron Man basically just picking every single member themselves. Ares, believe it or not, had never joined an Avengers team before prior to this, and what was he doing at the time they recruited him? He was working at a construction site making $44 now, which I think that's kind of accurate to real life. And also, this was something I thought was really weird. I didn't notice this the first time I read this because it's been years since I've read these issues. Apparently, Bendis decided to put thought balloons reading people's thoughts. Like, there's at one point when he's talking, when they're recruiting the Black Widow, he says his thoughts, he says in his head, "Marry me," even though he says, it's kind of a counter to what he said before about, man, this is the reason why I never get married. He just says, "Marry me" in his head to the Black Widow because he knows he wants to have sex with her. Yes, that's the only reason why. And plus, also, Black Widow's hot. I gotta appreciate Bendis' dynamic for his lineup. I mean, you have 3 women and 4 guys, 7 members. Not bad. Especially since this is basically the same number of characters that joined the New Avengers. And this happened right after the Civil War. And by the way, Ares is asked, why did he participate in the Civil War? Because that's not a war. He calls it a slapping contest. That's what he called it. Okay. I guess this is basically Bendis giving, let's say, a callback, at least. I don't know if he was insulting Mark Millar when he did this, but it was really, I call it a slapping match. Yeah, and Ultron, yeah, they do this weird thing in the storyline. Ultron has turned into a woman, and then they don't know it's Ultron until Janet speaks to him. He's like, why do you take this form? Because he says, because I love you. He's like, oh, crap. Someone call my ex-husband and get him down here right away. Thought this was so funny. How Ultron does this is really bizarre. Somehow he takes control of Tony Stark's armor, which, by the way, is sentient. It's kind of connected to his bones because what happened in the Extremis arc, which was done by Warren Ellis. Yep. The arc that was loosely adapted into Iron Man 3. Yep. So yeah, Iron Man is pretty much like possessed by Ultron of this whole storyline. And then afterwards, they have next storyline deal with Venom Bomb, which had all these Venom symbiotes pop all over the place. And then, of course, the New Avengers, the one from the other book, simply put, act like normal heroes. And Carol's like, shouldn't we arrest these people because they broke the law? And he's like, no, we're going to let it go for today because they did basically, they're kind of ignoring them. Yep. Though, during the story arc, they also have at the end of it where Spider-Woman breaks into Tony Stark's room. I think this is on the helicarrier. And she tells him that apparently we've been infiltrated by the Skrulls. Though they later revealed that he actually is a Skrull. When she revealed what happened in the aftermath after Civil War 1, where the New Avengers go to Japan to rescue Maria Lopez, aka Echo, from the Hand, and she kills Elektra, and it turns out it was never Elektra, was Skrull along, basically set up for Civil War, Secret Invasion. Yep. The following arc, which comes right after that, which is basically it's a three-parter, where it's basically the Mighty Avengers take Doctor Doom into custody. Yep. And he remains in jail for pretty much a year. Then he's released by Norman Osborn. And they do this really cool thing, basically reminiscing of the classic Iron Man vs. Doctor Doom issue. From Edgar, probably, when he had a chance to do these series, he probably like, man, this is so reminiscent of Iron Man 149, 150, and 249 and 250. This is a really interesting panel. If you ever see the cover for issue 150, you're like, man, this cover looks so familiar. I'll talk about who does the artwork in a minute, but man, this is just really good. Yeah. Doesn't this remind you of Iron Man 250? Iron Man 150 and 250? Yeah. It's really cool. He says, and the way before he says, like, Doom, as director of S.H.I.E.L.D., I am placing you under arrest for crimes against mankind. And Doom's like, I don't recognize the authority. You will, I'm done with you. And they start a big brawl and they go through time. And then they do something really weird. Both them and the Century go apparently to the past, where the artwork looks like this. Yep. And after this arc, where they take Doom to jail, where he's basically, if you wonder where he was sent to the raft. That's not a joke. He was sent to the raft. And whenever he goes, I should point out, whenever he goes back to visit Morgan Le Fay, this is the artwork for it. And they even do this for Dark Avengers. They use the same artist as well. I don't remember, I had to look it up who does the artwork for this. Yeah, also when they have Hank Pym show up, he puts on his Ant-Man costume. Yeah. Now for these Secret Invasion issues, each cover is a homage to a classic Avengers cover, or at least some are related to Avengers. Okay, issue 13. No, I think it's issue 12 is the first one. 12. Yeah, 12 is the first one here. The cover, of course, is a homage to, once I get to it, here we go. This is a homage to Avengers number 4. Yep, Avengers number 4. That's what this cover is. And mostly this is just on this is on Nick Fury with a woman who turns out to be a Skrull. This is when he first discovers it. He also meets with Maria Hill and Spider-Woman in this issue. Yeah, this is also when they have the Secret Wars up in here. Issue 13 is a homage to Avengers 16, which is the issue where issue 4 is when Steve Rogers gets recruited to the Avengers. This issue is when they recruit Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Hawkeye. That's what happens in this issue. And mostly this is about recruiting the Secret Warriors. At one point they ask Layla Miller, but she turns them down. 14 is a homage to Avengers number 57, which is the first appearance of the Vision. Yes. The story is called Behold the Vision. This is actually the second homage they actually did for this cover. They also did this for West Coast Avengers. If you look up the Vision Quest issues, this cover is actually reused for that. It's the same cover. Yep. Let's see. This issue right here, Avengers number 200, I think it's 213 or 14. Yeah, this is basically part of the trial of the Yellow Jacket. This is him being put on trial for killing the Elf Queen. Yeah, she was a one-shot character that he killed, and he was kicked off the Avengers because of it. Yeah, this is also the issue that explained him being replaced by a Skrull. Like, basically how that happened. Next issue is not a homage to Avengers cover. This is actually a homage to a Daredevil cover. This is a homage to Daredevil 181. The issue where Elektra died. Yep. And that's issue number 16. Yep. We also have appearance by Elektra in this issue. And Elektra possessed by the Ghost Rider. 17 is a homage to the first appearance of Hank Pym, which is Tales of Suspense number 27. Yep. Somebody save me! Don't let me drag him into the anthill. Yeah, it's simply the same image, except replace the ants with Skrulls, which is quite cool. Yeah, it's mostly just Hank Pym and Dum Dum Dugan. Mostly this is all about the Secret Warriors and Dugan, which is Secret Warriors and Hank Pym. That's mainly what these issues are basically about. 18. Those of you who don't know this cover, this is a homage to a classic Kirby cover. This is from Strange Tales 135, which is the first appearance of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra. Yep. And yes, the issue was also noteworthy for a Doctor Strange story. I don't remember what the story was, but yeah. 135 was the first appearance of S.H.I.E.L.D. itself and Hydra. Those who related to Hydra was led by Baron von Strucker. This is actually a homage to 19 is from the Kree Skrull, where they actually references during the actual issues themselves. I think this homage to issue, I think it's 94, which is the start of the Kree Skrull War arc. Yep. The finale, I'm not really sure what this is homage to. I know it's homage to some other I do not know which one it is. I have to look it up. Let's see here. Because that's one thing I admit that's cool about the Secret Evasion covers, is that each one of these are homage to classic covers done by Marvel comic creators. Like, a lot of these covers were either done by like Jack Kirby, or some a lot done by Jack Kirby, some done by other artists as well. Let's see. Who does this homage? I'm sure it's written down on here. When it comes up on here, but yeah. This is by far a really good era for Mighty Avengers. Good set of stories, and mostly Secret Evasion issues are just basically, a lot of them are pretty much one-shot issues, like set up for Secret Warriors, how they came together, and mostly a lot about Hank Pym. Yep. There we go. And this is also the end of the original era for Mighty Avengers. It is. Yeah. Okay, this is a homage. It doesn't say. Nope, it does not say what this one is. But yeah, issue 20 is simply the aftermath of Secret Evasion. Basically, Hank Pym knows about the Civil War, everything from House of M up until like this event. Basically, the past few years. As for when he got replaced, don't know really when he was replaced. But yeah, this is by far really, really good. Highly recommend if people are fans of these particular characters. And it's interesting though that Bendis, I mean, I get maybe put Iron Man in the team because it's Avengers. You gotta have Iron Man in there at some point. And of course, Janet Van Dyne, fandom of Avengers, gotta have her. But I think including Ares is probably an interesting choice. I think for some people, they probably didn't expect Ares, the God of War, who for years prior to this was a villain, and then he was made an anti-hero, which was really cool. Sentry, because Mar was pushing him at that point, so why the heck not? Wonder Man. This is interesting because after this, he's not part of Avengers team again until 2012 when he joins the Uncanny Avengers. Yeah, he's part of that lineup up until toward the end of Rick Remender's first volume he did in the series. Well, at that point, he got put in Rogue's head for 2 years, and then basically after Rogue made out with Deadpool, Wonder Man got out, and he did. Now, those of you curious about his attire here, that's actually his attire from the 80s. Yeah, I'm a little weird. It's a little odd for him to wear this outfit because if anyone's ever seen his classic outfit he's known for wearing, which is basically like a black t-shirt with a big W on it. Yeah. But this is more like his mid-80s, early 90s outfit. Yep. What do I give this? I give this a 9.5 out of 10. If you want to review these issues individually, go right ahead. Because these issues are really, really good. And especially, I'm sure he would love to review the 3-parter, which has Iron Man take on frickin' Doctor Doom. Now, I forgot to mention who the artists are for these issues, because there's like several different artists. For the first 6 issues, it's Frank Cho. For issue 7, it's Mark Bagley. For issue 7 and 11, it's Mark Bagley. 12, 13, it's Alex Maleev. 14, 16, 17, it's Corey Pham. 15 is done by Jeremy Jr. 18 is done by so far because like Coffin also does issue 19. 20 is done by Lee Weeks, Jim Chung, who's also Lee Weeks, Jim Chung, also the inkers for this issue, and Carlo Pagoli, I think it's pronounced the first name. Yeah, but overall, really good. Next up is Dark Reign the Hood, written by Jeff Parker and artwork by Kyle Holtz, who's also one of his co-creators. Yep, this trade collects the 5-issue miniseries of Dark Reign the Hood and a story from Dark Reign the Cabal. Yep, this is mostly put a miniseries for the character the Hood. This is the second series for him, because a lot of the time when he appeared between his first miniseries and this one, he mostly was just there as a recurring villain for the new Avengers, basically Bendis basically ran that way. And apparently Kyle Holtz doesn't have a problem with that. And the way he explained this character, he said that initially this is supposed to be like a 17-year-old, and yet for some reason, some artist drawn like a character in his 20s, even though he's supposed to be 17. Even though he's a father, and I think he's married and a father as well. Yep. They also have like a little thing of a television meeting with the rest of the Cabal, which is made up this time of, get this, Emma Frost, Namor, who's also part of the Illuminati, Doctor Doom, Norman Osborn, and of course Parker Robbins, and Loki, when he was a woman. Yeah, during the period of time he was a woman. Mostly put, this is about him struggling with his hood, with him in his cloak that he wears, and of course his own underlings undermining him. Also, Edgar's least favorite Iron Man villain pops up in here, the Controller. Yeah. By the way, Jeff Parker has him do nothing in this book. Not kidding. Mostly it's just focused on the Hood. Also, Santana shows up in here. Always nice to see her, because she's a smoking hot woman. And yet, she has never gone with an actual guy, which is weird. And also, they also have this thing at one point in the comic where Madame Mask and the Hood have sex. Yep, they do that. Though all they do is simply just have him take off his hood and her take off her mask, and then they proceed to have sex basically off panel. A lot of the time when they do something like this, usually you see just costumes lying on the floor, and they see the characters lying in bed. In the pages of X-Force, they already did it with Wolfsbane and her lover. They had them have sex off panel. They're already butt naked anyways. But this is a great little fun little mini-series that they did for the Hood. The only things I have reviewed for the Dark Reign besides this is the first arc for Dark Avengers, Utopia, and Amazing Spider-Man American Son. This is by far the fourth trade-related Dark Reign I have actually reviewed. Yeah, I haven't reviewed that much when it comes to Dark Reign, because Dark Reign is not exactly something I review a lot of. But I love Dark Reign because it's very good. I'm going to give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. It's really good. Love the art by Kyle Holtz. It's really good. And he said it was awesome writing this character again. First time he drew this character since his initial miniseries, which had his debut. I should point out, though, that his original comic book was published under the Max imprint. Yep, making by far one of two characters to have their initial first series they had under the Max imprint. The other with Jessica Jones for Alias. Yep. So yeah. So that's particularly it for this episode. Stay tuned for when I get a chance to next episode, where I'm going to talk about a Punisher trade. And I don't remember what that one was, but I know one is going to be a Punisher trade, okay? But until I see you in the next episode, bye.